everyone, welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're doing another indie horror spotlight with a returning guest. He has a movie that's going to be premiering March 28th at the Bare Bones Film Festival. He's actually going to be there too, so definitely stop by and say hi. And it's called Without a Name. Welcome back, Emmett Loverde. Emmett, welcome back to the Horror Room.
Thank you. Great to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you on, man. Pleasure to have you on. So for everyone who hasn't seen our previous interview, tell them a little bit about Without a Name.
Without a Name it's a thriller about basically a man goes he's on a fishing trip with his son, and they stop in this small town on their way to the lake, and the dad runs out to get some food, and bring it back. And then while he's out, his son disappears, and he can't find him anywhere. And he finds out that his son has joined a cult, and his son is having the time of his life. But the dad, of course, is trying to get him out, and he may not want to come out because the son and the dad don't have that great a relationship, and the cult offers a lot of wonderful things that that real life do not. And the problem is that the cult is great if you're young, if you're a kid or a young person, but to older people, it can be very dangerous. So it's the dad's efforts to get his son back get increasingly more dangerous as time goes on.
And it's a great film. I've had a chance to see it, and I definitely enjoyed it. Now you're getting so close to the premiere, and right after the premiere at the Bare Bones Film Festival, it's going to be going up on streaming. Now, what does that feel like as a filmmaker, where this project that you've been working on for so long is about to get out there in viewers' eyes?
Well, it feels incredible, and there's actually kind of a poignant, sad aspect to this, because I wrote Without a Name with my partner Larry Meraviglia, and Larry and I have been writing together for many years, but this is our first movie that we've ever made. He and I wrote it, and then I went and directed it. And Larry is older than I am, and Larry passed away about 2 weeks ago.
Sorry to hear that.
I am happy to say that we were able to see the movie in a theater in Los Angeles in December, and Larry was happy. He was happy as a clam. He loved every second of it. He said to me at one point, "I've never seen my name on a movie screen before." So I'm really glad that he was able to, have that before he passed on. And he loves the movie. He's very proud of it. He was part of the process almost every step of the way. I showed him, I showed him the different versions of the movie as I went through the editing process, and I even showed him the casting process. I showed him videos of different actors, and so he felt very much part of it. He was confined to a wheelchair the past few years, so it's not like he was on set or anything, but I would basically see him on a weekly basis, and I would bring the movie to him, and so he felt very very involved. And I wish that he could have seen the actual release of the movie, so where everybody could watch it. But here's the thing: since Larry's was a little older than I am, and he was never very good with technology, he wouldn't have been able to he wouldn't have been able to do streaming anyway. Like he wouldn't have known how it works. So have seeing it in the theater was heaven. And um, anyway, I just wanted to share that's the situation. Uh,
And
but otherwise, what's that?
I would say, and that's pretty heartwarming. Now, I mean, listen, because I mean, making a film is a lot of obstacles in your way. Now, with your partner Larry, you know, you know, being sick, did it kind of almost motivate you to want to get this out there so that he can see it?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. No, I was quite often. I was like, hey, we're like let's not slow down here. We've got a guy who's wanting. He wants to see this. He
Yeah,
wants to see it and let's not drag our feet. And so that was very helpful. And also, it was great to have somebody to talk to about the movie all the time. Like, because your friend, you're working on something, and your friends are kind of like, "Oh yeah, yeah, is that thing finished yet?" Like that thing you keep talking about. But Larry wanted to talk about it because he was part of it, and it was partly his baby. So uh, I will miss having somebody to you know give updates to and bounce things off of. But we actually wrote a bunch of other scripts together. So I've got a little pile of movie scripts that I want to get out into the world, and I know I have his blessing. I know he's. I mean, I would love for him to have seen these movies when they're eventually finished, but uh, they were like little boats that are ready to set sail down the river. So um, I'm hoping that things are. I'm hoping to have a lot more to show in the next couple of years.
and I understand that you're also working. You were talking a little bit pre interview that you have a lot of projects in the pipeline in the future. Tell us a little bit about those.
Well, this is fun. I have kitty. I
It's Kit Kat, yes.
I have a new film. It's called What Now, Mama. Now, I did not write it and I did not direct it. What I did was I shot the movie. I was the cinematographer for it, and I was the editor for it. And What Now, Mama is going to hit streaming very soon. Also, I don't have an exact date yet, but it's a wonderful film made by a woman named Lisa McNeil, who is now in Texas, and but she shot it here in Los Angeles a little while ago, and it's a wonderful film. Um, it's about a troubled family. The mother's trying to keep everybody together. The daughter's being very rebellious. The son is not being rebellious. He's actually a great kid, but he stumbled into some trouble and actually ends up in jail uh, through no fault of his own. There's a divorce that's about to hit, and the mom's just trying to hold everything together. And there's some wonderful music in the film and great message. And I can't wait for people to see it. It's also very funny. Um, I hope to have more to show you show you soon. We're working on a trailer, and but this was something that kind of snuck in the back door recently. I'm very excited to get it out there.
Now, now, now,
Yeah.
Emmett, listen, it is hard because I mean, I've had two filmmakers hit me up in the last year, and they don't make horror films. And they were like, "Can we come? Where we do indie action films or something like that?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Okay, sure. I support all indie. Come on." But it's hard to switch it up from if this is something a genre that you normally do and to try to switch it up into something else. Is that something when it comes to jumping from horror to a more dramatic film? Is that hard for as a filmmaker to do?
Well, actually, comedy is my main living space. That's and like a lot of the things I wrote with Larry were comedies. A lot of the films that I've already made are comedies. So the hard part for me was actually jumping into thrillers and horror. Um, I enjoyed it and I took to it very well, but it was not an instant. You know,
Yeah,
it wasn't an instant. You know, thing. And there were times, frankly, because I would second guess myself on without a name a lot because I know how to set up a joke. I know how to, I know how to set up, uh, a dramatic moment. But like a scare or, one of those moments where you go, uh oh, that was weird. That's not something I'm used to doing. Like there's a wonderful scene in Without a Name where a man goes the father goes to um, the local police. He walks into the sheriff's office and says, my son's missing, and he starts talking about it. And the sheriff at first is like, don't worry about it, and the guy's like, this is very serious. And then the sheriff, I don't mean to spoil this, but it is in the trailer. So this moment, the father's telling him about it, and then the sheriff says, "Don't worry about it. A 12-year-old boy won't get far on foot." And then the dad says, "I never told you he was 12." And like a moment like that is you want that to have impact. Um, and as a director, you're saying, okay, well, how do I add a music cue? Da da da. Or
yeah,
do I something like that, or have somebody else like turn around and go, "What are you talking about?" It's you don't want to overdo it, but you want the audience to feel it in their gut. And so a lot of this is new to me. Um, and I am very proud of the way that Without a Name turned out because I've seen it with audiences a couple of times, and I feel like there's been some real like people have been scared. People have been like jump. And the thing is, I'm not a real fan of jump scares, so um, there are a couple of instances where people I think did jump a little bit, but people have said afterwards, like, "Wow, that was really I didn't expect that," and that was I I I had we had a screening of the movie in Baton Rouge in December, and a woman was there who I did not know, and she didn't know me, so she didn't know I was the director. She was there with her son, who happened to be 12 years old, and I was sitting behind them, and so I was watching them because I wanted to see, like, how's this movie hitting the mom, and how's this hitting the boy. And I got a chance because she wanted to talk to us afterwards, and so I got a chance to talk to her, and I said, "How did your son enjoy the film?" And she said he was completely in it. He was totally absorbed, which was a tremendous. I was so happy to hear that because I couldn't tell, because the kid, you're 12
yeah.
years old, you squirm, you know what I mean.
You're
Like
constantly
I was
moving
watching
around.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was watching him from back. Like he hates the movie. He can't stand it. But apparently he really liked it. So and mom did too. So I'm very I feel like we got something that audiences are gonna enjoy.
Because Emmett, I've talked to so many filmmakers, and I asked them
Mm.
why they got into horror, making horror movies, and most of them, not most of them, some of them say, "Oh, I just want to make movies," and horror, I feel like was the first easiest way to break in to. And I'm like thinking, like horror and comedy seem like the toughest two genres to try to make a movie of, because it's hard with comedy. You got to hit those, those cues right on point. And same thing with
Yeah.
horror.
Hmm. Yeah, it's well, I Larry, my writing partner, was actually he called me up a couple of years ago and said, because we used to write a lot of things together, dramas, comedies, things like that. But he called me up. He said, "Do you want to write a horror movie?" And I said, "Yeah, okay." So this kind of popped out of his head. I was a couple of years ago. I was actually um, I had some resources for making a film, like a low budget film, and I was thinking what you have described, where you think, oh well, horror is an easy genre to get into, and so I was, but I didn't have anything of my own ready to go, and so I actually reached out to some friends of mine who are writers, and I said, "Do you have a horror script?" And nobody did, and I thought I was going to be, you know, I thought they were going to be piling scripts on me and
Yeah.
throwing them at me. But everybody that I talked to said, no, no, I don't have anything ready, or I don't, that's not my style. Um, so I do, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, first of all, that intimidation is pretty widespread. I think a lot of people uh, are nervous about the idea of making because you not only have, just as in comedy, you not only have all of the requirements of drama, which is to tell a story that's interesting, keeps an audience involved, makes sense, is worth sitting through, where you don't want to get up and go do something else. But you also, in the case of comedy, you also have to make them laugh, and in the case of horror or a thriller, you also have to scare them. You have to make them uncomfortable,
Yes.
and it's a lot. That's a lot to shoulder a script with. Um, but it making Without a Name was so much fun, and I you know uh, I I I'm excited about getting it out there, because it's like I don't know, it's like the week, the weeks before Halloween, where you just can't wait till that night, and you're going to put on that costume and you're going to go out and scare people, that kind of thing, and it's and by the time you get really close to it, I'm speaking as a former little kid who loved Halloween. Um, as you get closer to it, you start getting impatient. Like, what can't it be now? Why do I have to wait till tomorrow for Halloween? Like, I want it now, um, and that's how I feel with the impending release of our film. I'm actually really, one of the reasons I'm really excited about Bare Bones is because um, I've screened in Bare Bones 5 times in the past. First time actually was in 2001, and they've they're just as welcoming now as they were back then. It's still run by the same this wonderful couple, Oscar and Sharon Ray, um, and they're just they're the they're the kindest hosts you can possibly imagine. Um, and yet this film festival has been around for, I think this is the 25th year,
Wow.
and yeah, they show no signs of stopping. So um, yeah, if you yeah, check it out. It's in Muskogee, Oklahoma.
See, I love that one because I mean, there's so many horror film festivals or film festivals just popping up. It seems like they're popping up every single day. I love to
Mm.
see the ones that are sticking around, staying around, and have longevity. Because I mean that's a hard market to do. Right, it's so oversaturated. It's a hard
Hmm.
market to be successful in today.
Oh yeah. Well, I saw something. the other night, we watched this movie called Long Legs,
Love it.
and yeah, Nicolas Cage. That it was a very high profile film. Um, I happen to be, as I was watching it, I was seeing a lot of um, homages to like Silence of the Lambs, for example. That
Yes.
seemed to pop up a lot, and uh, we enjoyed it. I'm talking about me and my girlfriend and enjoyed it, but at the same time, I felt that I wish it had more of a satisfying story. And I mean, it was scary. It was that kind of thing. But I mean, I wish it was. I wish the underlying story was a little more. It's just that when you compare, I think the Silence of the Lambs is a masterpiece, and
Mhm.
so if you're gonna try to be, if you're gonna try to compare your movie to that one, whether having visual call outs to, you know, um, to Silence of the Lambs or something like that, you better make sure you bring your best version of your movie. And it was pretty good. I I just I don't know. And the funny thing is that if anybody asks me like what did you have in mind when you were making Without a Name, what if a movie could be a mentor, what would what would be your mentor for this movie? And I would have said The Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
I would have said, I mean, our movie is not the same type of story as that one, but I mean, in terms of the building of the horror and some of the creepy spaces that the characters go into, and some of the locations, and that kind of thing. Like we're trying to. I had that in the back of my mind as the best this could be is you know that movie, and hopefully we get some. Hopefully we get somewhere near that. So
Well, I mean, your movie Without a Name, it has for anybody who's been a 12-year-old, it has a relatable character. And
mm,
most of us as 12-year-olds were just average kids. I mean, we weren't super popular. We weren't, whatever, and we wanted acceptance. We wanted, acceptance from the opposite sex and our peers, and so that movie was kind of relatable because when you're that age, that's what you're always looking for. You're looking for acceptance from your peers.
yeah, and um, that's what's so that this cult offers catnip in
Hmm.
honor of your friend there.
Yes.
This cult offers catnip to this boy. It's like there's a girl who likes him. There's
Hmm.
friends. There's everybody's happy to see him. And I mean it. It just there's one little problem, which is that um, the cult has some requirements of its members
Yes.
that not everybody will want to participate in, maybe. But um, so it, but as long as you don't mind all that, like it's
Yeah.
great. You're gonna have the time of your life.
I was about to say a spoiler because
Yeah.
Kit Kat was here, but I'm not going to say it. But but
Yes.
she would be a fan of the film. But 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 no. But I mean, like because I mean, I think we talked about in our first interview, last interview, like yeah. I mean, any of us at 12 years old, because we're so impressionable at that age, or just as a teenager, preteen, that I see why cults, they go after people who are
Mm,
young or usually lost, or they're looking for some type of identity.
yeah. Oh yeah. And also we touch on it a little bit in our film. A lot of them are recruiting through the internet. There's uh, there's a well, if you've heard of the Church of Scientology, um, they have a big presence in Hollywood. And I
Huge.
like, yeah, I mean, but like literally, if you're walking around Hollywood Boulevard, they are there in nice clothes and smiling faces, and they're saying, "Would you like to come in and take a personality test, a, a free personality test?" And they take, if you say yes, they'll bring you into this nice building, and and it's all about helping you. It's all about, you're gonna you take this personality test, you learn more about yourself and learn more about, and that's how they draw you in. And so in our film, for example, one of the first things that Calvin encounters is a website that is saying, what are you looking for? What do you need? What, do your one of the questions it asks is, do your parents annoy you?
Mhm.
And of course, 99 out of 100 kids are going to say yes.
Yes.
Yes, they do. So it's a but and it's a sinister. It, the goal is ultimately sinister, but the initial appeal is very, sounds like fun, sounds great,
Mhm.
and you don't see the ugly part until later.
Yeah. I'm telling you, 12 years old, if there was girls talking to me, and all you had to say was girls, and I would have been there. I would
Yeah.
have been a part of the cold.
Hmm.
Yep.
No, that's it. Well, and that was the thing, is that I don't. I mean, when we were casting, um, we had we had some great kids come in, and when we were casting, we had to. By the way, are you in Florida?
Maryland.
Maryland. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got mixed up. But anyway, one of our main girl, our main, young star in the movie is, she literally came in from Florida to shoot our film.
Wow.
Yeah, it was the dedication. I mean, I was very impressed with that. But she did a great job. But the thing is that when we were choosing her, we were looking at a number of people, and she, not only could she act, but she was. I mean, I hate to put it this way, but you have to believe that some boy is going to kill for her. I
Yeah.
mean, where you can't sit there and go, I don't really see the appeal. You have to look at her and say,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
I see the yes.
yeah, yeah. It's a um. I mean, like I said, we had a lot of great kids, but she was the right fit, and her audition was great, and they got along. Actually, it was really funny because I don't want to spoil too much, but there's a little bit of, there's some kissing scenes, and when we were shooting one of the kissing scenes, one of the important ones, um, I thought it was going to be the boys who gave our young male lead a lot of trouble. Like make him feel
Mhm.
embarrassed. You gotta kiss her. You gotta kiss the girl. And actually, the young guys were all very respectful and were very like, like, yeah, let's. It was the girls who were like, I actually had to very
Really?
nicely ask them to not be present. Yeah, because they all wanted to watch and giggle while we were shooting it, and it was like, we can't. You guys, we got to get the camera. You're making her feel very, self conscious.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, but I have a feeling it was. I think a lot of the guys were probably like yeah, they they approved of the whole
Yeah.
situation. And the thing is, I don't want to give our young male lead the short end of the stick, because he is incredibly likable and charismatic.
Mhm.
His name is going to come to me in 2 seconds. Sorry. It is no, it is Desi Cruz Brooks is his name, and he's. I see great things for him. He's already doing a lot of more lot. He's doing a lot of commercials.
Nice.
He's been gotten some roles in films, and he's been up for some great TV parts. So, and he's a little older and he's a little taller now than he was in our film. And he seems to be turning out great. So, uh,
Did you see
I have
them?
high expectations. Yeah.
I'm about to say, do you see them a little bit as like your own kids? Like, are you like looking back at them and like, wow, I'm proud that they are. I gave them this opportunity, and over time, they are, moving on to bigger and better things. I don't say bigger and better, but you know what I mean.
No, yeah, I don't. Absolutely, yeah. Well, yeah, it's not too hard to get
Yeah.
bigger than our movie. It's a pretty small movie, but no, um, I've done several movies now with uh kids, and one of my first films that I ever made, it should have had kids in it. I was too scared because I was it's like you gotta have classroom, you gotta have teachers on set for them, you gotta very strict rules when you work with kids, that kind of thing. So i was so i actually, that movie, even though it had child characters, we actually had adults play those child characters, which makes that movie a kind of an experimental film. It's actually out there on streaming. It's called Santa's Letters, but we didn't use regular kids in that movie. And then more recently, I actually worked with kids in an after school program uh, called, it was in Santa Monica. It was called the Virginia Avenue Project, and I loved working with the kids in that. And I was also, I became a teacher, school teacher, and all of these things happened since I made Santa's Letters. So I became much more comfortable with kids, and so I was fine with having kids in Without a Name. I was actually looking forward to it. And what I said to the kids in Without a Name, and what I said to the kids in a previous movie of mine called uh, Girls Night In, because that had some young actors also. I asked them, I said, please stay in touch with me. I want to know what you're doing. I want to know where your career goes. I want to, I mean, whatever I can do to help,
Yeah.
um, because it's, I know that, like, the older you get, especially if you're an actor, you've done 50 movies. Each movie is just another movie.
Hmm.
But a lot of the young people that I was working with, I knew I was getting them on their first or second movie, and so I had a feeling that our movie might end up being extremely important and impactful for them. So I really wanted them to have fun, and I really wanted them to, you know, have want to do it again. You know what I mean? Rather
Yes.
than, ugh,
Scared them away.
forget
Yeah.
it. Yeah, yeah.
All
No,
right.
because you're here. No, there's a book.
Mhm.
If you know the actor Jackie Cooper. Jackie Cooper was one of the Little Rascals. Those short
Mhm.
comedies that they made in the 1930s. He was, his character's name was Jack. He, or Jack, or Jackie, but Jackie Cooper. His most famous recent part was in Superman the movie, the 1978 one. He played Perry White, the head of the Daily Planet newspaper that
Okay.
Superman worked for.
Mhm.
But Jackie Cooper, he wrote a book about being a child actor, and the name of the book was Please Don't Shoot My Dog." Because to get Jackie Cooper to cry, I think you can finish the rest of this
Yeah.
in your head. To get him to cry while they were filming, they had his dog and they had a gun to the dog's head,
Holy
and
moly.
they said, yeah, and they said come on, Jack, we need it. We need you to cry. Come on, let's get some tears. We're going to shoot him. And of course, he got scared and he started crying. And
It's
that's a
traumatic.
crime. Yeah. Oh yeah. That is a horrible thing to do. But that's I didn't want anything like that. In our movie. Um, I didn't want anybody treated that way. I didn't want any memories like that. That's and of course, I mean, we couldn't get away with something like that anyway. I wouldn't, but
No.
I'm just saying,
Hmm.
even bullying or scaring kids or something like that, I didn't want anything like that. I wanted it to be fun. And
A pleasant experience.
yeah,
Pleasant
yeah.
experience.
Even though we're making a horror movie, I still wanted it to
Yes.
be
Yes.
fun.
All right.
I just saw this recently. I
Mhm.
saw some pictures. If you remember The Shining, the original,
Yes.
Stanley Kubrick, the young actor who played Danny, it was Danny Lloyd was the
Hmm.
actor's name, and they were shooting The Shining in the same movie studio where they used to shoot the Muppet Show, the TV show.
Really?
And so there's these wonderful shots of Danny Lloyd and some of the Muppets, like behind the
Hmm.
scenes shots where he was hanging out with Check. And I have a feeling that was partly because they wanted to get him away from the set because because they were
But
making
some
a
of the
really
bad
scary
stuff.
movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He wasn't allowed to be present for a lot of that.
Emmett, where can everyone find you, my friend?
Well, the URL right there, the withoutanamemovie.com, that will take you to the trailer for Without a Name. So if you want to get a taste of the movie, go right to it. Um, you can find me on Facebook. I'm now on Blue Sky. Uh, I have a YouTube page, and everything is under my name. So because I don't think there are too many people with the same name as I do. So if you
Yeah.
if you come across that name, it's probably me.
If I well,
So
well, listen, everyone. I've had the pleasure of seeing Without a Name. I definitely enjoyed it, and I look forward, to come out and be watching it soon. And I hope everybody enjoys it. I know everybody's going to enjoy it. And Emmer, listen, it's always having a blast having you on, man. It's always.
and Travis, I have to tell you, we did a little bit more work on the movie since you saw it, so
Ooh.
it's a little better.
All right, so I'm
I
gonna
can't.
look forward to it.
Yeah, yeah. I think you'll like what we did. So thanks. It's been great to be here, and I really
Always
appreciate
a pleasure, man. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for coming to the horror room. I'm Travis Bruce, and Kit Kat is somewhere around here, and that's my
it.
man Emmett. We'll see you next
All right,
time. Take care.
take care.